Hey YouTube, firing up the Breville Double Boiler, and you can see that the temp is 70, well it just went to 72, 73. Okay, it's going to start warming up. This is from a dead stop to pulling a cappuccino. Now I know on the coffee forums people find it very, very hard to believe that a machine can warm up and pull a good tasting shot in under 7 minutes. And having owned two E61 boxes, a pitted Quick Mill Alexia and a Quick Mill Vetrano, in addition to a La Cimbali Jr., two Olympia Creminas, two Gaggia Factories, when I first heard this I didn't believe it either. But here's my Breville with over 2,500 shots in it, and I'm making this video to show you that yep, it can be done. It's actually going to be warmed up, and the brew boiler is going to be at its temp in under 6 minutes. Usually, like, sometimes it's right at 6. Kind of depends on the temperature inside the house. So anyway, how's that possible on a machine? Because like on a E61, your warm-up time, the boiler might be ready to go in 10 or so minutes, but the group head needs to warm up. And the reason this one is so much faster is right on top of the group head is the brew boiler. It's a ½ liter with I don't know what the heating element is on it. I think it's like 600 watts or so, and it's dual pitted, so you have one for the brew boiler, one for the steam boiler. And the reason it's so fast in being able to pull a shot is with that brew boiler sitting right on top, it's heating the group head. On an E61, your brew boiler is sitting in back of your faceplate, front panel, firewall, whatever you want to call it. It's sitting in the back of the machine, and it has supply lines that run to the group head, both an input and an output that causes your thermal siphon loop. You have to have your thermal siphon loop warmed up and with water circulating through there to warm up that big huge chunk of brass that's sitting on the front, which is what, I think it's 9 pounds worth, and that takes time. So that's the other reason you also have an offset set in your E61s that are pitted, because the temperature in the brew boiler, by the time the water leaves that brew boiler and goes through the supply lines to that group head, it's going to cool down, hits the group head, circulates back, goes into the boiler, gets reheated to the set point, which is usually somewhere in like the 225 degree range, because it's got about a 25 degree difference by the time it hits the group head, and that'll give you your 200 degree temp. This one instead is sitting right on top. The heating element is, no kidding, right on top of the group head. So as this is warming up the brew boiler, it's also warming up the group head. The other thing that's really cool about this is on the steam boiler, it's got what's called a heat exchanger. If you don't know what a heat exchanger is, that's a tube that runs through it for the supply line from the water reservoir tank. So although the water reservoir tank is at a temp of, whatever your ambient temperature is, plus maybe a few degrees, because of as the machine warms up, it's going to warm up the water a little bit as well. Instead of dumping cold water into your brew boiler, it goes through your steam boiler, which is at a much higher temp. Once it passes through there, it warms up and ends up going into your brew boiler at about that 200 degree set point for brewing. So here we are. I don't know if you can see my phone. I'm pull it right in front and try to get you the time on there, but we're at 4 minutes from firing it up, and there's the display for the pit. We just crossed 178 degrees. So under 6 minutes it's going to be ready to go, and the only thing you have to do is, well, the portafilter is stainless steel, and you're going to have to warm up the portafilter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a blank, basically double shot, into my espresso cup. It's going to warm up the cup, warm up the group head, and then we'll be ready to pull a shot. Surprisingly, we're getting awfully close, because I'm looking at my kilowatt, which is a little device that measures how much wattage this thing is drawing, and it's only just over 1,000 watts right now. And I tell you what, while we still have some time, because we're not even at 5 minutes yet, I'm going to explain to you what a PID does, because a lot of people will talk about a PID but really don't know what it does. If you notice, as it gets closer to my set point, the rise in temp is going to slow down. And the reason it does that is, unlike a pressure stat, which is just basically on or off to either open or close a circuit, turning your heating element on or off, a PID basically will, we're already up to temp and we're at 5 minutes and 25 seconds. I'll let it keep going for just 30 seconds while I finish this statement. So the reason a PID is really nice is it looks at your graph of the temp rising up, and it predicts, okay, my set point is, on this case I have it at 197. My set point is at 197. Whenever I start getting close, it starts doing smaller pulses to your heating element so that you don't shoot past your set point. So it's basically a slow graph to hit your set point, and then it'll just sit there and maintain it there, where on a pressure stat you're going to go above, it'll kick off, it'll drop back down, cool off. Once it goes below, it'll turn on, and it'll keep cycling back and forth. So here we are, 6 minutes. So I'm going to pull a blank double. We'll warm up the portafilter. I'll grind into it using my Forte, and we'll pull a shot and steam some milk. So I'll tell you what, while I was doing that, I'm going to go grab the milk. Alright, put that off to the side to warm up. And dry my portafilter. It's a little awkward making a shot from behind a camera on a tripod, but you get the idea. All right. Grinding on my Forte. Dump my cup. I have to move this. Tell you what, I'll lay that down because you probably can't even see it. So go ahead and pull a shot. Clean out the steam wine. Alright, there's the shot. Not a pretty latte art, but good enough. There you go. And we are totally